Hey there, welcome back to my channel Code Canvas, where we explore the extraordinary in the ordinary. Before we dive into today's video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Let's get started. In this video, we are going to discuss one CSS property, grid area. So, this CSS property is related to display grid CSS property, and it is a shortened property that specifies a grid item size and location within a grid by contributing a line or a span or sometimes nothing to its grid placement. Thereby, you can specify the edges of its grid area using grid area CSS property. So there are total four shortened properties that you can use in grid area CSS property. That is grid row start, grid column start, grid row end, and grid column end. So how you can define this property in CSS? So in CSS, you can select like this is class and for any element. You can select or you can assign the grid area value like auto. Okay, auto or auto like this two times auto. So auto, yeah, and using forward slash you can use auto four times. So I'm using auto for this example. Okay, you can also apply value like 1 3 3 and 4. Okay, so there are multiple values, a combination of values that you can use in this grid area CSS property. So let's try to create one simple HTML and see how actually this CSS property works. Okay, so here let me add one div with class container new. So I have container class already with my library, CSS library. So I'm adding this container new div class item 1. Okay, and I'm adding total 3 items here, so nothing fancy, just simple 3 divs. Okay, so now we have 3 items within one container. All right, so now there is nothing. All right, let me copy this class and display grid. So this is must, right? To use this grid area CSS property, you must have display grid in your container. Let me give some height to our container, 100 pixel. Okay, first of all, let's go item 1, and in item 1 we will add background color red. Okay, and similarly we can add 3 items, item number 2 green, and for item number 3 let me add blue, or yeah, it should be blue. Okay, so I have 3 items and this is how it looks, right? And this is expected output, right? We have not used anything else for now for this display grid, right? We have class item 1 2 and 3 with background colors. Okay, so let's get started with our grid properties. So first of all, what you can do in this container, here in this container, we need to add some CSS for grid template. So here in our container, let me add grid hyphen template. So grid hyphen template is a CSS property that you can use to add or utilize the number of rows, number of columns. If you want to repeat rows and the height and width of your grid, the number of grids, whatever you are using. So what I'm doing here, I'm using repeat. Let me add 3 times because we have total 3 number of divs and one fraction value. Okay, and 50 pixel, 100 pixel. So let's see how this grid template css applies here. So as you can see, now we have applied grid template here. Okay, so grid template is repeating these rows 3 times. So as you can see, we have, let me hover here, you can see on the screen we have total 3 rows here. So let me change it to 2 for example. Let me change it. So let's hover out here and 2. So once you make it 2, you see the height of that grid changes, right? So to understand more clearly, I have kept it 3. So you can see we have a third row as well. There is nothing in that third row for now, but this is how it is, right? So let's open this, and grid template rows 3 and 1 fraction value, grid template columns. So here we have 50 pixel, 100 pixel. So let me change it to something else. Let me change it to 70 pixel. You see the width of the column is getting updated, right? Let me make it 50, and when you change it the last value, it is updating the width of the last column, right? So let me keep it 100, and this is for first column 50 pixel. So this is how grid template we have defined here, right? So for now we haven't used grid area. So you need to remember one thing. This grid area is CSS property is specific to your grid. So since we have used that grid template to your container, but grid area CSS property should be applied to a specific grid. For example, item 1. So let's go to CSS, and in item 1 class, let's add grid hyphen area, and here what we will do, to auto, and let me add space, yeah, auto span and 3. We will see how this value works here. So as you can see, this says determine a grid item size and location within the grid, right? Or you can say in the easy words, it will decide the location and size of your particular grid by contributing the line or span or nothing. Okay, so basically it is a shorthand property for grid row start, grid column start, grid row end, grid column end, right? So this first value is grid row start, second is grid column start, third one is grid row end, and last one is grid column end. So let's see how this is on browser. So we have, let me remove it, and you can see the difference, right? So let's see here, the two first value is grid row start. So let me make it or update it to 1, or to make it more clear, 3. So now we have 3. You see the number 3 here. So the position of this item 1 is third, the row position of third, at third place. So let me make it 2. So you see we have this at position 1, position 2, from the row, from the top to bottom, this position is 2. If you make it 3, you see 1, 2 and 3. This is blank space, right? So when you make it 2, it will be on the second row. Similarly, if you make it third, then you see column 1, column 2 and column 3. So this is the value, 3 value is defining as grid column start. So this grid starts from column number 3. That's why it is starting from here. Okay, third value is grid row end. So this is not making any difference here because this is the second row, right? And the last value is grid column end, the span 3, right? So let's change it something. So okay, this should be 2. Okay, let's make it 2 1, 3, 4. It is not making any changes, right? Because in our case, this grid column and we don't have anything at the end. So that's why you can keep it anything you want. So let's keep it you can say line. So we have span for example, but it is not making any difference here. So the display block property prevents green column end from having an effect. So that's why this last property is not getting applied, because this div is basically display block, right? All divs are basically display block. All right. So in this case, in our case, we utilize row start and column start, because we need to identify or we need to set the start position of this grid in row as well as column. So this grid area property is really useful when you have multi column layout, the grid layout basically, and you can specify or you can consider, I mean you can calculate the size and location of your particular grid. All right, let's see the browser compatibility. So this property is supported by almost all the browsers, right? The not all the browsers, but the latest browsers which we use in daily use. So Chrome, Edge, Safari, Firefox, Opera. I not in use for now. It is not supported properly in this UC browser for Android, but that's fine. It is not supported properly in Opera Mini as well. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. Stay tuned for my next video and hit the bell icon to get notified. Leave a comment down below to let me know what you would like to see next. See you in the next video. Bye.